Happy Monday morning as we push into mid-afternoon and so on and so forth. Welcome into Concrete Jungle, a New York baseball podcast. We'll get to that Yankee sweep in a second. Kyle Evans alongside me. I'm Paul Russo, third floor, North Park Building in Seneca Falls. Producer Nate Sharman, and also joining behind the scenes for the time being in the summer. Intern Caleb, go ahead, put the camera on yourselves back there. Say hi. There we go. So, we'll be hearing a lot from those guys. And Caleb is our also international baseball expert coming to us live from north of the border, much like Nate is our Western Pennsylvania baseball expert. So,
yeah, we needed another baseball team aspect on the podcast,
yes.
in my opinion.
Yes.
I usually get overweight a little bit, so it works out good for me.
Okay. I'm like sitting there for a second, yes. I'm like, so yeah, good weekend for everybody. How we feeling? I know busy weekend across the board for pretty much everybody here. So, but I'm gassed a little bit, but it is what it is. We'll fight through.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, my favorite team has the best record in baseball, so can't complain.
Nate, anything?
Pretty good. Good time at the Country Music Festival on Saturday. Paul Mac Baseball before that, so good weekend for me.
Yeah. All right, we'll jump right in. A lot to get to. New York Yankees, best team in baseball, as Kyle mentioned. Now sitting, we're on the cusp of possibly having the first 40-win team in the MLB this year. Yankees sitting at 39-15, first in the American League East, first in the American League. Start Friday, obviously. Nice 13-0 victory. Garrett Cole improves to 5-1 on the year now. 2.78 ERA. Loss goes to rookie Elvin Rodriguez, his first decision of the year. 0-1, 10.13 ERA. Excuse me. He is a name to keep an eye on, by the way. Obviously, I know I go down these tangents a little bit, but he's got a lively arm. He's part of what should be a very good Detroit rotation within the next couple of years. So, your top performers: Garrett Cole went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits, 9 Ks. Jose, give him the starting job already. Trevino, 2 for 3, a home run, a triple, a walk, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and Judge, show him the money. 4 for 5, a home run, a couple RBIs, a couple runs scored. So, bit of the name of the game, I guess, for both Friday and Saturday, I suppose, to a degree, but nice offensive output, obviously, on Friday. Kick starts the weekend, and Garrett Cole, once again, just shines on.
Yeah, and took a perfect game into the 7th, which was had a lot of eyes on, and Jonathan Scope broke it up with a 2-out single in the 7th.
Yeah.
So, pretty impressive overall, though.
Yeah, Scope, one of the better hitters in baseball. Rough start to the year, but just a really great contact guy. I'll touch on this more, I guess, with Saturday, but I believe it was the first time in, I want to say, not like last year, but within the past 2 or 3 years, that back-to-back starters for a team went deep into the game with a chance of history on the line. I believe it was more in the no-hitter aspect, obviously, with Taijuan the day before, but and then obviously, like I mentioned, obviously we'll talk about more of the Saturday game, but the Yankees not allowing a run, I believe it was, 29 innings or something like that throughout the week, well, up until yesterday, obviously.
Yeah, and on Saturday, the pitching combined to allow just 1 hit, and the 1 hit it was kind of a questionable scoring play there, because kind of ate up Kiner Falefa, but could have maybe even been a no-hitter.
Yeah.
So
moving on to Saturday, a 3-0 win there. Luis Severino now moves to 4-1 on the year, picked up the win at 2.95 ERA. Bo Brisky picks up the loss for Detroit, 0-5, 4.93 ERA there. Clay Holmes.
that's my closer.
8th save on the year. ERA improves to 0.34.
His scoreless streak, I believe, is now 24 or 25 innings.
Something like that. Yeah.
Which is
He's a guy that, I remember seeing him in Pittsburgh last year, and the game I saw in person of him was actually, I think, 2 days before he was traded to the Yankees. I wasn't impressed with him, and it's quite the turnaround, and I think a lot of it has to do with, maybe this is a podcast we do within the next really couple weeks about Matt Blake. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly become the I don't know about the pitching whisperer. I mean, he obviously has come from the true collegiate background, obviously, with Michigan. And look, I mean, I've said on the podcast before, but, if there's any new listeners or watchers, I do believe the perfect combination is somewhere between analytics and, the old school thinking. But it's kind of nice. I think Matt Blake has, I know they brought him in because he's an analytic guy, but I think he also has that mentality of somewhere in the middle is the right combination. And it's really the rotation the Yankees have. He can really run with it and exploit it almost, if you will.
Yeah, and if you kind of remember when the Yankees first hired him, a lot of question about him not having a Major League Baseball background, and they fired Larry Rothschild.
Well, that needed to be done.
Yeah, to get younger though, and people they just weren't sure with it because like I said, he had no experience. But I mean, now they know his name, they're talking about him, they're happy that they hired him, and pitching is it's really been outstanding.
Yesterday, one of the few extra inning games, I guess, on the year so far for the Yankees. 5-4 win in extras in 10th inning. Michael King picked up the win. 3-1 now out of the bullpen at 2.90 ERA for him. Loss. I feel bad for this guy, Gregory Soto. 2 for 3 now on the year with a 1.89 ERA. He's their closer, all-star caliber closer for Detroit. Just this poor guy. People will let him down every time. All right, speaking of the pitching, Jordan Montgomery, no decision, 6 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts. I guess I had to include him on here. I apologize to everybody. Go ahead, get ready, Nate. Joey Gallo, 1 for 3, a home run, 2 RBIs, and a run.
Congrats, Joey. You did something.
Out of the 9 hole. And then I do have to give props. IKF has been struggling recently, but nice solid day for him at the plate yesterday. 2 for 3, a walk and a run. So, and obviously, he spotlight was inadvertently on him a couple different times over the course of the past 3 days. Obviously, you mentioned with Severino, but he was also at the hands, or it's hard to say at the hands, right, of Tyon's no-hitter. Just didn't come up with it on a diving play, and it's a tough one, but I think a lot of people had unjustifiably put the spotlight on him for no reason with those two, but nice bounce back Sunday for him. But again, Jordan Montgomery, did really well again. Talk about the pitching, and I will say this: I'm gonna do this now, so I don't forget when we talk about the Mets. I don't know how often this has happened, but the Yankees and Mets both went into extras in the 10th inning and won 5-4 yesterday.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So if you, I know with the Lightning Ranger hockey game last night, somebody won a prop live bet of the final score being Lightning 3, Rangers 2 at a nice clip of 210-1. So I wonder what the odds would have been for that. Openly wondering.
Going back to baseball, though, the Sunday night baseball game went to extras too. So 3 games on a Sunday that goes to extra innings. That seems like doesn't happen very much.
Well, I guess I was looking at it more from the actual, just the fact that it was both finals after 10. Both New York teams won 5-4.
I'd love to see statistics on, based on the slate of games and how many goes to overtimes or to extra innings, excuse me.
Would have been even crazier if the Mets were in New York and it happened kind of at the same time.
Yeah. Kind of did almost, right? I mean, the Yankees led right into the West Coast game. Well, not quite. They were at the brunch ball game yesterday. That reminds me, did you end up buying Peacock, Kyle?
I did.
Oh, my gosh.
I did.
Let's hear your review on Peacock.
$4.99.
Yeah, that's actually a good point by Nate's part here. How do you feel out of the Apple TV Plus, Amazon, and Peacock? Have you bought all of them?
Yep.
Okay, how do you feel about each one of them?
I'm going to rank Peacock first.
Okay.
Or no. Amazon.
Okay.
Sorry. Amazon first. Peacock second. Apple TV is the worst.
Okay.
But I like Apple TV's graphics the best.
Okay. All right. I like that. I certainly kind of agree with that, I guess.
Like their on-screen stuff, like hit probability, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I like that.
Okay. About to say, I like NBC kind of getting back into the baseball game a little bit. It's interesting because that stuff fascinates me, and there's a ton. Not to get too off topic with it, there's a ton of these TV media rights deals on the grand scale coming up that I don't think many people kind of realize. Like MLB's got theirs coming up, I think in 2 years with Fox technically. I know the NFL. I mean, the NFL's not going to go away from CBS and Fox and everybody else with that, but those deals are coming up, and I know Amazon's going to really make a push outside of just the Thursday night game coming up. I want to say the NBA's with ESPN again, but that's not one I'm expecting the ESPN to just drop. I know like NASCAR, for example, theirs are both coming up with Fox and NBC at the end of next year. NHL, I know, just renewed, and that was the one that I thought was fairly interesting, the fact that NBC let it slide and you had TNT and ESPN pick it up.
NHL on ESPN has been interesting. Like there's a lot of room for improvement there, but on TNT, I've really enjoyed it so far. How about you, Kyle?
Yeah, the TNT broadcast
Well,
has been very good.
TNT, again, not to get, I guess, too far off topic, but TNT did a lot of poaching just from NBC. I know that.
Paul Bissonnette does a fantastic job on TNT.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do want to add something quickly, though.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than watching a game on Yes Network with Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill, though. I put that before anything.
I disagree. Michael Kay, and David Cohn.
All right, how about all three? I'll take all three
Fair
of them.
enough.
Yep.
If only Paul O'Neill would just do the right thing. Anyway,
Oh, I know where you're going with that. But still.
I'm leaving it at that. Let's touch on some news and notes for the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton officially activated off the injured list over the weekend. Was not in the lineup at all, but did pinch hit for Joey Gallo at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, rather, yesterday. So I'd expect him probably officially back in the lineup tomorrow. Josh Donaldson officially activated off the injured list. Technically, the corresponding move, the Yankees disguised it as David McKay being the one optioned, technically there. However, positionally speaking, Miguel Andujar was the one optioned to AAA, and justifiably so in my mind. We'll obviously talk on this. He has requested a trade slash 275 in the 12 games up with the Yankees with Donaldson out. Look, I understand where he's coming from. I'm not the biggest Andujar guy overall, the way everything kind of settled out and shook out with him. That being said, I find the trade request probably pretty justifiable at this point. Major league level talent, has pretty much spent the past 2 years at Scranton. Last year I can understand, right? You kind of wanted to get him to figure some things out, offensively and defensively, obviously. He's evolved. He's not a great defender in the outfield, but I guess when push comes to shove, if you need him to go out there for a little bit, you can do it with him.
And he has gotten much better.
Yeah, and the bats come back around. That being said, there's not really a spot with him on the Yankees, for him on the Yankees now especially. I do agree, though. I don't think I would have optioned him. I understand where he's coming from, and I do understand the trade request.
Yeah, and it's more tough when you see guys like Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks just literally not hitting, and you're hitting, and then you're the odd man out again, and it just kind of reminds me of another Clint Frazier situation. I mean, they both were kind of in the same spot, At times they would rake and they'd get sent down. It's like, what else do I have to do?
Right.
And you can't blame him at all, and he deserves to be playing in at the major league level every day.
Right.
So.
Agreed. I know, Nate, I think you're more half joking that he'll be a Pittsburgh Pirate. It's going to be interesting because there are
Brian Reynolds.
a number. Well, I don't see that one
Yankee
happening.
fans are going nuts over that.
I don't see that happening.
I know they're working on a long-term deal with
Well,
Brian Reynolds, but
It would take a lot.
it would take a lot, yeah. I
thing-
disagree with Kyle that Miguel Andujar is an everyday MLB player, and
Really?
he's right to request it.
You know how many teams would love to have Andujar right now?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm willing to say half the teams you could be an everyday starter for.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't agree.
No, I agree.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I agree.
Gotcha. My apologies. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a plethora of teams that would more than willing to go ahead and take the stab at him for everyday work. I mean, whether it is, I don't mean to throw teams like this on our bus, say whether it's a Pittsburgh or a Cincinnati where you are trying to figure some things out. Definitely. Yeah. We'll touch obviously more than Cincinnati one in a minute, but yeah, I don't see the Yankees doing a Brian Reynolds thing, unfortunately. I feel like the way the Pirates did it, it's kind of gotten swept under the rug. Not intentionally, but it's the way everything's kind of worked out. I mean, Reynolds and Pittsburgh agreed to a 2-year deal, I want to say $20 million or something like that, to avoid arbitration. And that was, I think, a lot to kind of help ship him off somewhere. so they didn't have to deal with that. Anyway, different discussion on a different podcast. Tim LeCastro activated off the IL. He was optioned to AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. So good to at least have him healthy and back for the positional depth. And then positional depth, we have our first Yankee trade of the year, I guess, officially in season, as them and the Cincinnati Reds got together to break bread for Jake Bauers, utility man. Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Seattle legend Jake Bauers. So the Yankees sent over the always in need and always top prospect cash considerations.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of that.
Bauers has been in AAA Louisville all year, currently slashing 135, 3 home runs, and 12 RBIs in 29 games. He'll be assigned to AAA Scranton. I don't understand the overall aspect of the trade. I guess it's more or less just for depth at this point than anything else. Bauers has just, struggled the past 3 years collectively. This was a guy who, when he came up with Tampa and then got traded to Cleveland, he wasn't batting 300, but he wasn't batting below 250 either. It was actually he had some pop, and I don't know what's really happened with him over the course of the past 3 years. Went to Seattle and just struggled. So I'm guessing, like I said, this has got to be for depth. I don't know what for. You're just bringing another struggling, in my mind, outfield bat at this point, even though he does play some corner infield if you needed him to. So
enjoy the Scranton life.
Yeah, I guess enjoy Musick. Looking ahead for the middle of the week, travel day for the Yankees. Their first scheduled off day since early May, as we noted off air. So travel day, they're off to Minnesota to face the Twins for the first time this year. 3-game series at Target Field. The Twins are first in the AL Central, 32-24. This is a Tuesday through Thursday series. This is a Twins team that has been quietly really good. Offensively, they've been pretty good. Pitching's been the big mystery for them. It's weird how they've been able to operate pitching-wise, and yet they make it work. And that tends to be a team that you kind of could struggle with from time to time.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that they were 8 games above 500, so it's actually going to be – it's not just going to be, you're going to go in there and sweep them. It might be tough.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. Tuesday, 7:40, first pitch Eastern time on Jameson Taillon, 6-1, 2.30 ERA against to be announced. This is a spot normally occupied by, I believe, it's been a combo of Jacks and a couple other of the younger arms, but the Twins and Sonny Gray as well also kind of dealing with some injury issues, so I don't know if they'll call somebody up or go bullpen game there. Rocco Baldelli, their manager, he's from the Tampa Bay side of thinking and playing and operating, so I'm just to kind of see what they do there. Wednesday is 7:40 first pitch. Nestor Cortez 5-1, a 1.50 ERA against Pirate legend Chris Archer 0-2, 3.89 ERA there. He's done pretty well in the few starts he's had. He's been doing some arm stuff still, but coming back, it hasn't looked too bad, all things record and ERA considered. And then on Thursday, 7:40 first pitch. Garrett Cole 5-1, 2.78 ERA against Yankee killer from Baltimore and LA the past couple seasons. Dylan Bundy 3-3 on the year, a 5.5 ERA for them. So, obviously historically the Yankees, especially the past really 20 years, have just owned Minnesota across the board. It's tough. I do want to lean sweep. I feel like I rarely ever say sweep because to me I always see the Yankees just not showing up somewhere in one category for a game. But given the situation, I think I got to go sweep against the Twins this week.
I haven't really looked at the Twins' schedule and who they played earlier this season, but I would have to think the Yankees are definitely by far their toughest opponent. So I think this will be their toughest test of the year. So I'm probably going to lean towards a sweep as well. I honestly think Stanton's going to have a big series. I think he'll hit like 3 homers and they'll just have a great series.
Probably a good series to come back to, too. You don't have to really, I guess, exude yourself too much or anything like that. So
it's going to be tough, though, seeing Gio Urshela. Gio
my favorite. Sure. Gary's doing Gary things. So.
Yeah, Gary is scary though. So,
No.
as John says.
I mean, you know who else is scary? Anyway, the New York Mets. We'll move on to them. You brought up to me, Kyle, off air, because I didn't realize. I know they're on a West Coast swing. But they're on about as an extreme West Coast swing as you can kind of get right now. Sitting at 37-19. Still first in the NL East. I mean, obviously, this is a team that when they first had those injuries getting going, talked about just play 500 ball because you've gotten a good jump on the year so far. And even though they pretty much have been playing 500 ball, I mean, they had a true split. Obviously, a 4-game set with the Dodgers had a true 2-2 split with them. Still getting distance between them and the rest of the division. Not a good thing. Not a good thing for the NL East.
It's also amazing that, like you just mentioned, they're not even completely healthy. Like, they're doing this without two really, really good starting pitchers. Right. So it's just crazy. Like, the NL East is so weak. They're literally, like I said, they're going to run away with it late July, early August.
Yeah. So, Thursday night, a 2-0 Dodger victory. Tony Gonsolin, the Catman, 6-0 on the year now, picks up the win, a 1.59 ERA. Guy that I think is finally having the year that the Dodgers kind of hope he had when he got first called up about 4 years ago now. Anyway, Ty Walker picks up the loss, his first of the year, moves to 3-1, a 2.88 ERA. Certainly not his fault that game. He certainly kept the minute for when he was in. And Craig Kimbrell picks up the save, his 11th on the year. Taijuan Walker, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 earned, 2 Ks. I mean, he again had as good a game as you needed him to do, did exactly what you needed him to do, and the bats just didn't show up for him that day. J.D. Davis, 1 for 3 with a double, and Luis Guillorme went 1 for 4. I mean, that tells you all you need to know right there when that's pretty much your top two performers offensively, unfortunately, there.
Yeah, I think he only had 4 total hits that game, and I mean, you're not going to win any games doing that, so.
No, and like I said, I mean, Ty Walker did what they needed him to do that game, quite literally.
Yep.
Then on Friday, a 6-1 Dodger victory. The win goes to Tyler Anderson, 7-0 on the year, a 2.59 ERA. Quietly, somehow, having a really great year. This is the guy that the Yankees and Mets had targeted last year at the deadline from the Pirates, and he ends up getting dealt to Seattle in the end at the deadline last year. But he's certainly making his case now that Siler Mago is still out. To have the NL Cy Young be his. And it's been an oddly quiet year for as good as he has been for that, in all honesty. The loss, Chris Bassett, 4-3 now on the year, 3.74 ERA. Daniel Hudson picked up his 4th save of the year for the Dodgers. Pete Alonso, 1 for 4, solo shot. Eduardo Escobar, 2 for 4, and then J.D. Davis also picked up a hit. So, again, not a ton going on there with that offense for the Mets that day. Chris Bassett kept a minute, went 6 innings, only gave up three earned. I mean, he did what he had to do again to keep a minute at that point, and then the bullpen just kind of collapsed in on themselves, and the bats just didn't show up.
Yeah, 1 run in the first 18 innings of the series, and then would they have 13 in the next 2 games combined?
14.
Or 14.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the offense finally came alive.
Yeah, Saturday was certainly a day for the Mets, a 9-4 victory. The Syracuse Mets legend, Colin Holterman, picks up his 3rd victory out of the bullpen for the Mets this year. Major league ERA at the moment. Obviously not a leader because he just doesn't have the right amount of appearances and innings. But a 0.82 ERA at the big league level. Not bad for a guy that ended up winning the Syracuse closing job kind of by force. I mean, the only good bullpen arm out of Syracuse for a little bit, and gets called up and certainly proving his worth at this point. Walker Buehler picked up the loss, moves to 6-2 on the year, 3.84 ERA. Pete Alonso, big day at the dish, 3 for 5, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs total, and 2 runs scored. Eduardo Escobar also had a solo home run, going 2 for 4. Brandon Nimmo, and we haven't said in a couple of weeks, 2 for 4, a walk, and 2 runs. So the offense certainly showed up that day, and Pete Alonso kind of finding the power strike again for the Mets after kind of going quiet for the better part of about 10 days.
Yeah, that was a really good way to snap a 2-game skid, and I'm honestly surprised Walker Buehler struggled that much because he's usually very, very good. So,
He has these weird moments, but I think a lot of the young pitchers do, whether him or, I mean, I know he's on the IL still, like Jack Flaherty, guys like that. And look, all pitchers do from time to time. You just have a game where it's just not good. And to be honest with you, I was able to kind of see about an inning and a half, 2 innings by the time that I got home Saturday night of that game, and he looked spot on. He wasn't really missing pitches or anything like that. It just wasn't one of those nights that's not in the cards really for him. That happens from time to time.
Yeah, and the Mets offense is pretty damn good. So
yeah. I mean, if they're going to bust out, they're going to bust out. Sunday, obviously, we kind of mentioned it already. Final after 10 innings, the Mets 5, Dodgers 4. Seth Lugo picks up the win. Moves to 1-1 on the year, 3.86 ERA. Craig Kimbrell, the loss out of the bullpen. And then the save going to Adonis Medina, his first of the year. Recent call up to the Syracuse Mets. So again, the S-Mets, if you can't get it done apparently in Syracuse, you can get it done for the Queens squad. But either way, Francisco Lindor, 2 for 4, a double, a walk, and a run scored. So Marte Parte, he had a solo home run on a 1 for 5 day, and J.D. Davis, RBI double as well as a walk. Pretty perfect way to, I guess, kind of at least lift the spirits in the middle of this West Coast road trip. Again, start kind of, 500 with it, but bats showed up at the end, got going a little bit. Not bad momentum to get rolling into this week.
Yep. Now they're going to be off to San Diego, and we'll see if they can kind of continue. I mean, it's not a bad start of the road trip. It's really not. The Dodgers are really good, and you drop the first 2, but you bounce back nicely, and we'll see what happens.
So some news and notes. Tyler Megill made a rehab start, his first on the road back with Double-A Binghamton. He went 3 2/3 innings, had 5 Ks and 2 earned runs on 53 pitches, and per a scout topped out at 98 miles per hour. So not bad in that case, obviously. He'll be the first one back out of the rotation once he gets about 2 or 3 more rehab starts, kind of depending upon how he looks. Big news. We tipped it off last week a little bit. Jacob deGrom. Video of him throwing kind of came out. And on Saturday, for the first time since spring training, threw off the mound. He threw 19 fastballs only, but looked good, and he'll continue progressing here in the coming days, including possibly seeing some live BP situations and stuff like that. What are you smirking about over there?
Because I forgot the Max Scherzer story coming up.
Yes. If there was ever one bit of Mets news here, it was this. Max Scherzer, down in Florida, currently is home rehabbing. Got bit in his right hand, his throwing hand, by his dog, one of his dogs. But good news is it won't affect his injury rehabilitation timeline. If there was ever close to having a Mets injury during this season, I think we almost stumbled upon it over the weekend.
Didn't he put like a statement out on Twitter saying this is a non-story, I'm fine?
I'm
sure he did.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he note-sapped it.
Oh, he did note-sap
Yeah,
it?
I think so,
didn't
yep.
know that.
Because I guess people were like questioning, like, did it affect his rehab?
No, I mean, it would be about the most Mets injury to happen this year. I mean, we always joke about when will the Mets be the Mets, and we almost had that situation.
Although we had Francisco Lindor
well,
close his finger in the hotel door.
The main issue with that is Cohen played into it because he goes, Lindor, am I right, on Twitter. I'm like, this guy. Like,
I just remember waking up Sunday morning and seeing that Max Scherzer post and sending it to Josh, sent it to noted Mets fan Josh Durso, and he just sent back the eye rolling emojis.
and it's oh gosh. And then anyway, James McCann has slowly began his rehab process from his broken left wrist. He will be taking some dry swings this week. He will be targeted to return, I believe, sometime the end of June here at this point. So I guess in a way, no news is good news for the Mets here. A lot of guys is kind of getting back going again, and they have not made any trades, unless you count Dom Smith going to Syracuse. But for the Mets, they continue this long West Coast road swing. 3 games starting tonight in San Diego. Padres second in the NL West, 33-21 record. Tonight, 9:40, first pitch on SNY. Cookie Carrasco, 6-1, 6.3 ERA against Blake Snell. 0-2, a 4.80 ERA. He's coming back still off the injury grind. Tomorrow, 9:40 on SNY, Taijuan Walker going against you, Darvish. 4-3 on the year, 4.03 ERA. And then Wednesday, also 9:40 first pitch, SNY, Chris Bassett against Sean Manaea, 2-3, 3.77. Again, part of me wants to say sweep here, but I think it's going to be 2-1 Mets take the series against the Padres. I think they lose against Manaea. I'm a big Sean Manaea guy, so I think that's where they get it. But something tells me you're disagreeing over there.
I'm kind of stuck. I'm going to say this might not make Mets fans too happy, but I'm going to say they drop the series. They're not going to get swept, and their only game that they're going to win is going to be Tuesday.
Against you, Darvish?
Yep.
Okay. So they rebound nicely to give Taijuan Walker a nice reprieve from what happened over the weekend.
Yep.
Okay. So that's it on, I guess, the New York Mets. Let's head, before we get out of here, down on the farm. Nice week for the Rochester Red Wings. 35-19 on the year. First place in the International League East. Rochester took the series against Buffalo 4-2. Expands their lead on them to 3.5 games in the division. And, we've been mentioning this guy's name all year, Joey Meneses. He's officially now second in the International League with a 3.30 average and tied fifth in the International League with 12 home runs. He's kind of going to have to take, I think, this offensive lead now with Luis Garcia getting that call up to Washington. Joey, he didn't get a ton of run, at least Friday when we were there.
He walked it off.
Well, he had the walk-off, but he didn't get a ton. A real touch on that. Jeez. I'm going to get the jump. Anyway. Rochester, again, we kind of talked about it now really through the course of May, as now we enter June. This is going to be an interesting point now, especially with the Nationals. It's more or less calling the guys up now at this point, what we kind of expected, including late last night. Do we have confirmation on that, Kyle? Or?
I couldn't find anything. Maybe it was just somebody trying to start the rumor.
Gotcha. So, we won't. Look, there was a potential move up of a catcher. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, it could still happen soon,
right.
but
look, this Rochester team, again, they're really good. The pitching's really just has pretty much found their stride overall. I know Cade Cavalli had a complete game on Saturday in the first game of the doubleheader that they had. He's looked again. It looks like he's doing good. He's finding himself back in place in that rotation a little bit. I know the second game on Saturday, a little bit of a different story, but that's going to happen from time to time. But if you're pitching as good as it has been, Tetro's looked really good. Obviously, I mentioned Cavalli's coming back around a little bit. And look, they have a couple other guys there, but I know like out of the bullpen you have Baldonado, who's looked really good. So we'll be interested to kind of see what happens there. Obviously, I know Strasburg had a no-hitter through what would it technically be? 5 and 2/3, I think it was. So on Friday in his rehab start. So Nationals fans, at least you got a positive coming, I guess, here shortly. But anyway.
One side note quick. Yeah. Wasn't in game 2 of Saturday's doubleheader, wasn't there a inside the park grand slam for Buffalo? Pretty sure there was.
Yes, there was.
Sure. There was?
Yeah, that is, I haven't really heard that much in my time of watching baseball.
Yeah, the ball got past the right fielder, and it just rolled right into that perfect spot right by the wall, and the batter threw his burners on and got all the way around.
Hard to do.
Yeah. I've done it. No, I'm just kidding.
I have not.
You just got me on your horse. Anyway, first time ever we have history for the Rochester Red Wings this week, everybody. Rochester heads to St. Paul this week for the week-long series against the St. Paul Saints for the first time ever. They are the Minnesota Twins affiliate after they decided to leave Rochester, so hopefully Rochester takes some revenge and gets them. The St. Paul Saints, part of the call it the distribution of minor league teams and such over the course of the past couple of years. We're part of the independent league, the Frontier League, pretty much the premier one out in the Midwest. But St. Paul, rich baseball history. They had a AAA team for a number of years back, and they were part of the American Association. Kept with pro ball, and even though it was indie ball, but kept with it, and it kind of paid off for him, I suppose, in that sense. But should be a really interesting series. I know some of the Twins' top prospects aren't really there at the moment because they're either up or hurt. I know, like Royce Lewis, for example, is out now. I think Nick Gordon's back up with Minnesota at this point, so remains to be seen there. But it should be interesting. I mean, St. Paul is one of the better teams out in the IL West. Just got done pretty much beating up on the Iowa Cubs all week last week, so should be an interesting set out there.
Yeah, it'll probably be a split in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Then for our beloved Syracuse Mets, 18-34. If there was a positive with this past series, they were able to move back into a tie with ninth place in the IL East.
Oh, what a great accomplishment.
Easy. They did drop the series to Worcester, but hey, they're above 500 with them on the year at 8-4. So they're in a tough spot. I mean, anybody who's remotely good has pretty much at least seen some sort of action with the parent club at this point this year, and it's just frankly a team that I'm baffled at this point. You had good prospects there. I guess they still, could be good prospects, right? And Khalil Lee, Travis Blankenhorn, but everybody's kind of spinning the tires at this point still. We touched on it, when they got hot mid-May there for the minute, and it's tough for them because they got off to such a rough start that they would be digging themselves out a hole all year, and they're just digging themselves, a deeper hole. Like I don't get it with this team at this point.
And now they're pretty much just playing for pride. I mean, what is there to play for?
Right. And well, I mean, that's the tough part about it too.
Unless you're a prospect and you're trying to make it to the big
Yeah.
leagues, but a lot of those guys are kind of just there just to play baseball.
And it will be interesting because I know on the Thursday episode we discussed obviously a lot of the prospects, and Binghamton's kind of turned their season around a little bit, and it's a little bit different there, obviously, once you get beyond AAA, the way they kind of divide up the seasons and everything now. But I think, unfortunately for Syracuse, I think the only top prospect you're for sure going to see at this point still is going to be Mangum, and whether or not Beatty or Alvarez gets up there, I don't think that's going to happen at this point, but you never know. It's tough. I mean, you do have a rookie AAA manager in Bowles and Kevin Bowles, and look, he's a good manager. I mean, he's been around baseball. He's a system guy. He's a minor league guy, and I don't know if there's a little bit of maybe that I guess rookie degree with him a little bit, but I don't think so overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and imagine how different the Syracuse team would be if the New York Mets were bad.
Right. And I mean, that's another thing too. So who knows? If there is a positive, they return home this week. They face Scranton Wilkes-Barre starting tomorrow. Multiple promotions across the board. Thursday is Dollar Thursday and Pride Night for Syracuse. Friday is Shutout Cancer Night. Saturday is Little League Day, and Sunday is a diaper drive to help out local bank there. So
Dollar Thursday sounds like a good idea for the 9, 9, and 9 challenge, Paul.
for you, yes. I am not that good of a chugger. I do want to go on a limb and say family sections are about the worst idea in the world, with that in mind. So anyway, that wraps up the podcast for today. Any parting thoughts before we head out of here? I think we touched on pretty much everything. It was admittedly a slow weekend across baseball, at least news-wise. Like nothing really noteworthy really happened. I mean, games kind of were here. I know it's always nice kind of when we are able to say maybe a couple extra things, but there just really wasn't this weekend.
Yeah, no parting thoughts other than see you all Thursday.
All right.
Another great time at Frontier Field. I always like to say that.
Yeah.
Never had a bad experience there, in my opinion. There's a lot of good baseball happening there, especially on Friday night. A really good crowd with the Steven Strasburg rehab start. Over 10,000 fans in attendance. A lot of fun.
Well, you are Mr. Rochester, Nate, so For Kyle Evans, Nate Sharman behind the scenes, Paul Russo. We'll see everybody on Thursday, 11 a.m. If you aren't able to watch us live on YouTube, catch up anytime there. Listen on Anchor and Spotify, and we'll see everybody Thursday. See ya.